I crossed paths with a photographer who nearly filled her calendar with free or greatly reduced fees sessions. You know, she's just helping people, but she's not making any money. When someone asks for your help, saying yes feels good. What if that feeling is leading you in the wrong direction? Hi there, Lens Legends. And welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show, where we focus on the business side of photography. I'm your host, Jim Landers, your guide on the business side. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. For Digital Pro Lab, Amanda and her amazing, wonderful team are going to make you look like a hero. And that's just by default. That's just because of who they are and who she hires. Amanda and her team provide exceptional quality and service for photographers who want their images to look amazing. And they do it in a way that makes it easy for you. Go to digitalprolab.com so you can start to see the difference that Digital Pro Lab can make for you. digitalprolab.com. The show is also sponsored by Landers Photography School. That's my company. I teach both the photography side and the business side, but of course with the Portrait Profit Show, I'm talking more about the business side, where I help photographers build a business that supports the life that they want. Now, I encourage you to make comments as I share this message with you today and ask questions in the comments section. Now, go to the comments section right now and enter in hashtag live. Hashtag live. That tells me you're watching today either on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. Go to the comment section right now and enter in hashtag live. Now, if you're watching the replay, please comment hashtag replay. And if you know another photographer who could benefit from a little more business knowledge, which is probably every single photographer you know, please take a moment to share the Portrait Profit Show. Let them know that the Portrait Profit Show exists. There are times when you find yourself in a position that feels good, but in hindsight, it was a signal that it deserved a closer look. So let's take a closer look at one that on the surface may not seem like it even has the potential to become a concern, and that is helping others. In this situation, someone has noticed what you do and asked you for help. It might be a friend. It might be a family member. It might be someone representing a cause that you care about. Being asked means that people have taken notice of your work, and that is something to appreciate, even celebrate with a mental woohoo. And because photographers are generous people, the instinct is usually the same. You say yes, and often with enthusiasm, until it has already cost you money and stress. You may not realize that helping can hurt your business. Photographers are generous people. We often help when someone asks. But sometimes the very thing that feels helpful in the moment works against the business we're trying to build. Helping people feels good. In many ways, that instinct is one of the reasons photographers do what we do in the first place. We care about people. We care about moments. We care about creating images that matter to someone. And because of that, photographers are often among the most generous professionals you'll ever meet. If someone needs help, many photographers step forward without hesitation. But generosity without borders can become intrusive and expensive. Sometimes the cost shows up as lost income, what's called opportunity cost. Sometimes it shows up as lost time. Sometimes it shows up as stress that maybe slowly, but builds because expectations start to grow, maybe beyond what you originally intended or beyond your scope of expertise. What began as a simple act of kindness can gradually turn into something that works against the business you're trying to build, sometimes even creating animosity with those you're helping. You've heard the cliche, no good deed goes unpunished. That's true. And I think we've probably all been there. So let's recognize the moments or those moments when helping someone crosses a line and begins to hurt your business. Let's also look at how photographers can protect both their generosity and their professional future at the same time, while using our innate generosity as a marketing tool that benefits all concerned. Situations like this raise an important question. When someone asks for your help as a photographer, how do you decide whether saying yes is the right decision? Until we've experienced a negative impact that helping can have, we often respond immediately through feeling, not logic, not strategy. Helping people is a good thing. But if helping is going to remain a positive force in your life and your business, it helps to pause and think through a few simple questions before agreeing to say yes. Before saying yes, run the situation through what I call the helping test. That's what you see on the screen right now, the helping test. It's a simple way to think through a request before you agree to it. First, what am I agreeing to? Now, for photographers, I add the words to create. What am I agreeing to create? Sometimes what sounds like a small favor is actually a full professional photography session. It may involve planning, scheduling, travel, photography, editing, delivery, and follow up, and a whole lot more. Being clear on what you're about to do and agreeing to helps prevent misunderstandings later. Probably many of you have experienced misunderstandings in this situation when helping someone. Second, what will this actually cost? And I'm not talking about money alone. While that is obviously important, this also includes time, preparation, editing, the work you may have to turn down in order to say yes to this request. Again, that's called opportunity cost. When you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to something else. You don't have an endless supply of time. That time that you're going to be using to do whatever it is you're saying yes to is a missed opportunity for something else. You're booking your schedule. You're blocking that time. You can't do anything else during that time. Third, what expectations might grow from this? Many situations begin with a small request, but expectations can grow once the work begins. You've seen it. What started as a quick favor may turn into something much larger than originally intended. Fourth, will this benefit everyone concerned, including you and your business? Helping someone should strengthen relationships and support a positive experience for everyone involved. In some situations, helping can also become a meaningful marketing opportunity that benefits everyone involved. In other situations, the cost may outweigh the benefit. These four questions help photographers practice generosity in a way that protects both their relationships and their business. Every once in a while, A post appears on a social media place that many photographers will recognize, be able to resonate with. I'm going to give you an example of one because I recently saw one that's a strong example of how helping can turn into something very different. Let me know if this resonates with you. In fact, anytime you hear something you like or can relate to, do me a favor and click the like button or love button, or go to the comment section and say something about it. By the way, if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live, letting me know that you're watching live. Now, let me get back to that story. A photographer had agreed to photograph her sister's wedding for free. Oh, and to throw in another layer of intrigue, this photographer was also a bridesmaid. Yes, photographer and bridesmaid. That's one amazing sister. Wanting to make sure the couple still received full coverage, she hired an assistant and she paid for that assistant herself. Before the wedding even arrived, the date had been changed once, causing her to lose another booking she had originally scheduled for that day. Opportunity cost. The engagement session had also been rescheduled several times. You've probably heard the stories and maybe even experienced this yourself. Changing a session date once is understandable, generally speaking. But when it happens repeatedly, it begins to feel, well, inconsiderate. On the wedding day itself, she found herself not only photographing the event, but also helping with setup, with decorations, and solving small problems before the event even began. There was quite a bit more than this that this photographer shared that I'm not going to share here, but she shared quite a bit more. This situation became increasingly stressful as the day unfolded. By the time everything was over, the photographer had lost income, paid for an assistant out of her own pocket, and missed much of the celebration she had hoped to be a part of. What began as an act of generosity ended with stress, frustration, and a damaged relationship between two sisters. Situations like this begin with generosity, good feelings, positive stuff. No one in that story I just shared with you was trying to create a problem. A photographer wanted to help her family. A bride trusted someone she believed in. At the beginning, everyone involved likely believed they were doing something good. Generosity is one of the reasons why many photographers love what they do. We care about people. We care about important moments in our lives. When someone asks for help, the instinct is often to say yes. But generosity without structure can create situations that no one intended. That is why it helps to pause before saying yes and run into the situation that she just experienced. Now, if she had done the helping test, she might not have said yes. Might. You never know. It's family, it's a sister. But at least she would have gone into it knowing more than what she would have known otherwise. So, what are you actually agreeing to create? What will this actually cost? What expectations might grow from this? Will this decision benefit everyone concerned, including you and your business? These four questions do not discourage generosity. They help photographers practice generosity in a way that protects relationships, protects the work that they do, and protects the business that allows them to keep helping people. You guys hearing this? Is it resonating with you? Let me know. Click that like button, click that love button. Say yes in the comments. And if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live, letting me know that you're watching live. I see a bunch of you have already entered in hashtag live. I appreciate that. Again, that tells me that you're watching live. If you're watching this as a replay, then enter in hashtag replay. But those of you who are here right now, as I'm saying this, we're watching live. I'm looking through some of them to see if there's any questions in here that I might need to comment on. While I'm doing that, know that I do a handout for every single one of these Portrait Profits episodes. And if you want a handout, please just send me an email, jim@portraitprofits.com. That's jim@portraitprofits.com. And tell me what episode it was, because this is episode number 264, I believe. So, yeah, there's a bunch of them. I need to know which one you're referring to. All right. Let's move into chapter 3. What we just saw in that story becomes easier to understand when you think about it like a stage production, a play. A play works because everyone involved understands their role. Some people work behind the scenes managing lighting or sound and everything necessary to make the performance happen. Others are actors on the stage. The audience is there to watch and anticipate what's going to happen next and enjoy the experience. The production works because these roles remain clear. The lighting technician doesn't walk onto the stage and begin acting. The actors don't step off the stage and sit down in the audience to watch the performance unfold. A wedding works much in the same way. Now, when it comes to helping, we're not talking about weddings alone. It's just the story that motivated me to share this helping test. It was that story. It was a wedding. This applies to anything. If it was someone asking you to photograph an event or photograph a headshot, it doesn't really matter. But a wedding works much the same way as a play. There are people working behind the scenes, usually vendors and organizers who help make the event possible. There are visible participants, the bride, the groom, the wedding party, and there are guests who attend to celebrate and witness the occasion. When you're hired as the photographer, the role is clear. The photographer is there to create the images that preserve that day. That responsibility requires attention to lighting and timing and expression, and when those moments and the moments that will never happen again. At a wedding, there is a natural hierarchy. There are classes. The bride and groom are at the top of this hierarchy, followed by the wedding party, then the parents, then the guests. The vendors exist to support the event. We're at the bottom of this hierarchy, but we're at the top of the bottom. Photographers, in my opinion, are at the top of the vendors, so the top of the bottom of that hierarchy. However, photographers are generous people. When someone asks for help, the instinct is often to step in. A request to move something, help with decorations, or solve a small problem can seem harmless in the moment. But each time the photographer steps away from the role they were hired to fulfill, attention shifts away from creating the images and towards something else. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying that you should do it with a strategy, with evaluation. Over time, that shift begins to blur the role you were originally asked to play if you don't. When roles blur, stress increases, expectations become harder to meet. And when that happens, disappointment often follows. Have you ever experienced that? Chapter 4. Situations like these occur frequently in the photography world. But the people asking for help usually do not realize how common those requests are. From their perspective, the request seems small, usually. They may be thinking about a short photography session, a few images, a quick favor for someone they know. What they rarely see is the larger scope of work surrounding photography. There's the planning, the communication, the travel, the editing, the delivery, and the responsibilities of running a business all exist behind the scenes. So they don't see it. They don't know, but you do. You're the expert. Because those parts are largely invisible, the request from their point of view, can feel reasonable. The difficulty for photographers is that these requests for help come from many sources. Friends ask, family members ask, someone representing a cause asks, someone planning an event asks. Each individual request may appear manageable, but over time, those requests accumulate. If a photographer agreed to every request for free work, it could entirely, it's very possible to fill an entire schedule without a single paid assignment. The requests are certainly available. What's missing in that scenario is the income required to sustain the business. This is exactly where the helping test becomes useful. This and many other places it is very useful. Now, you should always think about the situation from the photographer's or from the other person's perspective, of course. But I have a question for you. If the roles were reversed, would that same individual be willing to give away what they do for a living for free? Would they do a day's work without pay? A week without pay? And there's a lot of things that take a lot of your time. In most professions, the answer would be no. Of course not. They would say something like, "This is what I do for a living." Uh-huh. And yet you asked me to do something for free that you do for that I do for a living. What is the difference? Now, you don't want to be rude and say that, of course. You want to educate. You want to allow them to know what's going on, what's going on behind the scenes. They need to know, even if you are going to say yes, or if you have already said yes, you need to know what goes into this. They need to know the value. They need to know the time commitment that you've agreed to. You know, a lot of times, if you were to ask that question about would they be willing to give a day for free, a lot of times they have they're an employee somewhere, so they don't even have they wouldn't even have the authority to make a decision like that. But recognizing this difference in perspective helps photographers approach the situation with clarity rather than frustration. Helping someone can still be a meaningful decision. This important step is deciding intentionally when helping supports both the relationship and the business that you're building. Now, let's talk about when your business becomes a strength. And let's see. Give me a second here. I don't see the chapter head, so I'm adding it in as we speak. Helping people is a good thing. Hopefully, nothing that I have said suggests otherwise. In fact, generosity is one of the qualities that makes photographers valuable to the communities we serve. The goal is to help in ways that strengthen both relationships and our business. We want win-win situations. When photographers approach helping intentionally, it expands from the wonderful thing it already is into one of the most powerful forms of marketing available. Helping can place you directly in the path of people who value your work, your ideal clients. For example, contributing your talents to a charitable organization can create meaningful visibility within a community. When the organization values the work and communicates that value to the people they serve, the photography becomes associated with something positive and worthwhile. It can also strengthen relationships with businesses and organizations that serve the same audience you hope to reach. And when I say organizations, I do mean other companies as well. When the collaboration is thoughtful and well planned, both sides benefit from the partnership or alliance. Even small acts of generosity can build goodwill. When people feel that a photographer genuinely cares about the people they serve, trust grows naturally. And over time, that trust often leads to referrals and new opportunities. When helping is approached this way, it strengthens everything. The difference between helping that hurts and helping that strengthens your business is intention and strategy. I'll say it one more time just in case. The difference between helping that hurts and helping that strengthens your business is intention and strategy. When the decision is thoughtful, expectations are clear, and the outcome benefits everyone concerned, generosity becomes an advantage that supports the future of the business, that makes generosity continue to be possible. And that decision is always yours to make. Helping people is one of the most meaningful parts of being a portrait photographer. It is a part of what drew many of us into this profession in the first place. We care about people. We care about the moments that matter to them. We care about creating images that last so that they can be shared with the future. Our generosity is something to our generosity is not something to hold back. It's something to guide. When you take a moment to think through your decisions, you give your generosity direction, a future. You begin choosing when to step in, how to help, and how to do it in a way that supports both the people you care about and the business you're building. It becomes a symbiotic relationship because you matter. It's the tool that allows you to continue creating, continue serving, and continue making a difference in the lives of others. When your business is strong, your ability to help others grows with it. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You've heard that cliche before. So the next time someone asks for your help, recognize the opportunity in front of you. Not just the opportunity to help, but the opportunity to decide how that help fits into the life and business that you are building. Make sure to use the helping test. Be thoughtful, be intentional, and continue being generous in a way that benefits everyone concerned. This is how you build something that lasts. Lens Legends, your work matters. The way you run your business matters. And the decisions you make each day shape both. Keep moving forward with clarity, with purpose, and with the confidence that comes from knowing exactly what you're building. Take that with you as you move forward. Now, I want to take a look at what's coming next. I want to share with you what's coming next. As you know, the Portrait Profit Show happens every single Monday. So let's talk about the upcoming shows. In 1 week from today, I'll put this up on the screen. This is, where'd it go? Oh, I'm looking for March. This is the end of March. I need to be looking at the April dates. April 6th at noon, the real reason photographers leave the profession. You've heard reasons, you've heard, let's call them excuses. I'm going to tell you what the real reason is that photographers leave the profession. And the reason I want to tell you is because I want you to avoid it. I want you to know what it takes to avoid it. You know, when I graduated with my photography degree, there were 33 of us starting at the same time. after graduation. Now, I'm not saying that we started school at the same time, because when we started, there were 250 of us. When we graduated, there were 33 left. So when we graduated, there were 33 of us starting at the same time. Within 5 years, I was the only one who hadn't changed professions. Too many photographers are going down good roads. They just aren't going in the right direction. I'll tell you how to spot the difference, and it will become very clear. That's in 1 week from today. Put it on your calendar. You're busy. You've got a lot of things going on. If you don't put it on your calendar, guess what? You're going to forget. 1 week from today, April 6th at noon. Now, the one after that is going to be in the evening, because on the second Monday of each month, we move the time to 6:30 in the evening. And so that's 2 weeks from today. And I don't have a title for that one yet. I'll tell you next week what it is. But I can tell you a few more, because I know the one on April 20th, this one's going to be fun. I did something last week, and I didn't even know it was possible. I went 7 years into the future. Now, I don't know what you would have done, but it probably won't surprise you that I sat down with photographers who are doing really well. And I am so excited to tell you what they shared with me, how they're running their businesses, what tools they're using, what's changed. Oh my goodness. It's something you're going to want to hear. Add April 20th at noon to your calendar. You're going to enjoy this, because I'm back from the future to tell you what's about to happen so that you're prepared. You are going to be thrilled. 1 week after that is on April 27th. These are 5 principles every photographer should understand. And the reason I'm sharing with you, because I've observed patterns that appear again and again in photography careers. This episode explores 5 powerful principles: the Dunning-Kruger effect, Parkinson's law, the Pareto principle, Hanlon's razor, and the Landers principle, and how they influence the way photographers think, how they focus their time, how they're building strong businesses. Seeing how these ideas connect will help you create a photography career that lasts. That's on April 27th. Again, every single Monday. And only the second Monday of the week do we change the time. It's at noon every single Monday, with the exception of the second Monday, where we move it to 6:30 in the evening. You know what? I'll tell you about just one more. On May 4th at noon, 12 business truths. A photography business grows based on the decisions you make and the standards you set. You know that. I'm going to share with you 12 business truths that are going to help you attract the right clients and build a business that's going to support your life. That will happen on May 4th at noon. Put it on your calendar. Every Monday, you get to see the Portrait Profit Show. You know what? I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you've hit the like button or hit the love button, because I've earned it. I hope you took a moment to enter in hashtag lives, letting me know that you are watching today live. And I want to thank you, Lens Legends, for your time and attention here today. I always appreciate your time and the effort that you're putting into building something meaningful. Keep moving forward. Keep growing. And I'll see you next Monday. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, I'm Jim Landers, and this is the Portrait Profit Show. I look forward to watching you grow. You guys are amazing. And I appreciate you. Bye for now.